But yes, the big news today is I got the email this weekend. The divorce is officially final. We did not talk about that yesterday. I didn't mention it. Apparently, it got signed back in early July by a judge. It's over. It's done. So I can now answer any question. I can now talk about absolutely everything. There were a few things I was kind of holding off on because, look, it's just smart when you're doing these things, even when you got both signatures on a paper. Wait till you got a judge signing off on it, and it's done. She was deleting a load of comments on Instagram because people were like, yeah, what are those? She showed the 3 wolves tattoo, and someone said, oh, is that for each stepchild you abandoned? Then she's like, I never did. You don't make assumptions when you don't know the full story. Her and Nick are exactly the same, where like anytime they get held accountable for that they did, they can't stand that someone doesn't just believe they throw them. And they go, well, you're just believing lies. And I'm like, who cleaned out their shit, left without, like, even if you think I'm the devil and the worst guy in the world, fine. That's totally fine. Thank you. You can say goodbye to the children. You can. In fact, the day you snuck out, they were right there in front of you before you left to take your shit. And they were opening their Easter baskets from your parents. And you decided, no, I got to go get my clothes and move them all in here without telling anybody. Which, by the way, I'm going on liar on record. Nick's a liar. He totally knew she was doing that.
Yeah, I don't think you.
He's a lying sack of shit.
I don't think you suddenly find out that your side piece is moving in. Like I do believe my side piece didn't know because they treated her like a mushroom, feed her shit and keep her in the dark. Yeah, no, I think she found out after it happened.
Yeah. And then she came over she wanted to come over the next day, but Nick wouldn't let her go alone, so you had to come with her. Oh, my news today is just another reminder of how great it is to be here instead of there. But yeah, she was deleting comments on Instagram because people were calling her out on their bullshit. And she, like, how tone deaf can you be to think that people are going to look at you and look at all of you and go, wow, you guys are persevering and doing great. It makes me believe that they honestly don't think they're liars. But then again,
they worked themselves into a shoot.
They did work themselves into a shoot, but that's the nature of addiction, though, too. Like, that's how you know they're probably, well, I'm not even going to say probably. That's how you know they're still using, is that they've worked themselves into a shoot and you start believing your own lies. Like, I didn't abandon 3 kids. You tell them what? Somebody commented and said, why didn't you get 5 wolves for each of the kids you helped them lose? I'm telling you, dude, it was... You go on Kiwi Farms and look at some screenshots, and it's brutal.
Oh, boy.
It's pretty bad. But, like, thinking you're the hero in this story, it's like, if you think this story has a happy ending, you have not been paying attention. I'm sorry. But I think that, like, weak-minded people follow him, and he convinces them of the horse shit he says in public. Because you notice, like, they must be buying everything he's selling. Because when he goes online every time, he's like, this is going to work out great. And it always ends with him just spiraling and screaming at people for calling him out on his bullshit. Like, when he goes out into any part of the actual world, he just gets his shit pushed in and throws a fit.
And he ends up, I still need that WCCO news clip. I got to see.
They just look stinky and they're like they're wearing each other's shirts and not washing them. And, oh, God, it's gross. And look, man, I'm not innocent. I was part of that for a while. I was part of the grossness for a while.
The grody-ness?
Like, believe me, that sucked for a while to think about that. Now I just kind of, I accept it. That was part of my life. That's what I did. What are you going to do, right? But, like, there was a while there where I was like, oh, I was part of that. I was the part that always, like, kind of didn't fit in and would, like, I would be kind of the black sheep sometimes, but still part of it.
Don't you ever feel all this this weird, just polyamory stuff? Just morally wrong, just a little bit.
McBuster says,
especially on top of all the blow.
Yeah,
maybe just a touch.
McBuster says you still have cover residue on you, and Revan says spray Lysol on yourself 3 times a day, Aaron. Bigot on Socialist Media says April is the cult leader, or at least co-leader. Well, I mean, there is that story that Kayla told me that Kayla convinced Nick that once they ran out of drugs back in May, that April or May, I think it was May, that they would be done. They wouldn't get any more. They were going to stop. And that April threw a conniption fit and made Nick go with her to get more. And that was the one they got arrested with. So keep up the bad work.
So if, I don't know the dynamics in that household, but if I'm Kayla, then I'm just fucking, I told her so, I've told her so.
She backs down real fast. She'll throw a fit. She'll fight. She'll scream. She'll yell. She'll, do whatever. But then it all just kind of goes back to the way it was. He convinces her that she's the crazy one. And then back we go. Oh, boy. And he goes, do you think she's still using drugs? I'm like, 100%. And my lawyer's like, yeah.
That text, it's kind of a confirmation.
He said it was a long, rambling, all over the place kind of a text. Yep. He's like, it was like telling me that you were a bad guy. He's like, I don't give a shit. It's like, he goes,
you're a client. Do you pay your bill?
And then then he also goes like, he's like, you did coke and lost children. Like, I mean, if he's a piece of shit, what are you? And then he just tells me, he goes, this is the weirdest text. He goes, it seems like she's using drugs because this is a manic, all over the place text. And the text was basically, where are we at in the process? As if my lawyer needs to answer your questions. It was just April and Nick in this text message that he sent me coping with the fact that, you were married for less than 3 years. You didn't have any children together. You abandoned your situation. You got arrested. Yeah, you're getting nothing. Like whatever you
abandoned my boy.
You abandoned my boy. Whatever you take out of the account before Aaron closes it down, before Aaron generously allows you to walk through his house. I let a cocaine addict walk through my house and take whatever she wanted. I left for 4 hours.
And all she took was my heart.
Wait, hold on. Still intact. That's why, like, whenever she tells people you don't know the full story, I'm like, are you going to believe these manipulative and the bullshit they try to pull on people? It's just remarkable. Natalie Ringsmith is a bigger name than April. Probably. Honky says,
definitely a bigger person.
April got the shut up Aaron light like Crowder had for Landau. Oh. Honky says, you think April's using Keanu as a conduit so she avoids any potential defamation lawsuit if she opens her mouth? One thing's for sure. Keanu does not object to any of this morally. What they did to those kids,